Hello. Alright. Hello, everybody. Yeah, tomato, yeah. Where's tomato life? I'll take you to the dungeon where I'm keeping him. The garage with the lock on it. Oh, first time tuning in. Who's this handsome fella? Oh, bless you. Nice thumbnail. Thank you. I thought it would probably get a lot of attention, but like, I wanted to use it. I was just having fun with those assets this afternoon. Just like, okay, I'll just throw this together. Look at the monkey though. Look at them go. Assuming you'd hear the music just fine. Let's turn it down a little bit. Hey everybody. Hey Lord Bung, search button quail on Google. They are just tiny birds. This I gotta see. Yeah. Yeah, I like suggestions like these. Give me more suggestions like these, everyone. Just like really pleasant things that I can learn about and look at while I am under the influence of something. Cannot say. We don't know. Are you high or something? Oh shit. Are you a cop? You have to tell me. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, Stuart Boland. Alien is about to transcend. He's locked in this eternal loop. If he stops moving, time stops moving. He's the central crank around time. Greetings from us, 4 a.m. high times. Hey. Hey Bong, any hope of us getting Norse code back in some form or another? It was one of my favorite vids and a shame that it was removed. Yeah, I was thinking that I could maybe put in an edited version and upload it somewhere, maybe unlisted, but I'll like tweet it out. I should totally do that. I need to get around to editing that. It's something that I just don't really think about when I'm working on confinement, because I'm just like, confinement, you know. And then when I get on the stream, it's like, oh, actually, yeah, that's right. Some people are asking for this, so. Well, let's just pray that I remember to find it relevant the next time I am looking for something to do. Which, if my spiritual training right now is anything, it is probably that. Just trying to be as open as possible to doing anything. Yeah, just responding to fucking DMs on stream. That's like, people assume like, oh, he's high on stream, it's gonna be really funny. It's like, no, it's gonna be mostly just me getting distracted. I'll try and focus. You should look up the Secretary Bird, man. They're huge. Now, I know they are huge, and I love them. And I know you said Secretary Bird man, but because you didn't put a comma, in my head, I pictured a Secretary Bird man. Just like a really... That conjures up a few images. Hey Bong, why do you look like a Twitter activist? It's the hairstyle. Sorry, I'm trying to. You sounded very confident. In brackets, it's the hairstyle. Thank you, man. Thank you. Don't overwork yourself. Oh, don't worry. I am doing quite good. I work just a few hours a day. And then I have a couple of days off. It's pretty easy compared to some of the less lucky people I know. So, don't worry about me. I'm doing just fine. Please, if somebody else isn't, and you know you can do something to change that, you go ahead and just do it. Because what do you got to lose? He's got the half-shaved ahead hairstyle. Yeah, I do. This side. And on this side. Because I like it. Secretary Birdman needs to show up in animation at some point. He do. Good evening, Bung. Having a good time? Having a great time. You know? I want to eat your hair. Thank you. Because it can't possibly be I find your hair disgusting. It can only be a positive thing, I think. Hello from Germany. Hey, welcome to my stream. Porn is just real life hentai. What an amazing comment. Thank you. Thank you, DC Gamer. Amazing comment that you felt that you had to type. Can you even see straight? Yeah, I can see fine. If I'm not using my eyes for a while when I'm high, then yeah, it'll stay blurry for a while. It's weird. Hi, how's life? Life is pretty good right now. How's life for all of you? Tell me in short sentences, just in brief, how's your life going? Bung, please shave the other half. I did, look, it's right here. Both are shaved. Both sides. See? I have both sides shaved. I went back and now I'm monkey. I'm proud of you. When is confinement coming back? It's coming. I don't know when. I'm still making it. Can't really do much, but wait. Dogs and primates on a spaceship. I'm high right now, so life is a bit better. Well, that's good. Bro. Man, my computer would blow up. I mean, my laptop, sorry, would blow up if I decided to play Cyberpunk on here. I don't even have it. I just play it up. Well, watch my friend play it on his big bulky computer. Damn, it's sad that Bill Gates died of Ligma. Who's Bill Gates? Horribly depressed. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, jeez. I love your work. Keep on going. Love y'all. Thank you. Love you too, Ilko. What's that noise? I don't know if I'm going crazy. Or if you all heard that kind of weird noise. Greetings from Brazil. Love your content. Hey. Obrigado. Did you know 9 million videos from Pornhub were deleted today? Such a tragedy. That explains it. I honestly thought that Bung's face was some Twitter activist lady. Alright, you already made the joke the first time. Now it's just, this is grueling. I get it. Yeah, I know. I like the look. It's not an insult to me, you know? Like, I see somebody who looks like this. I actively chose to look like this. It's not a problem. I don't think you want me to feel like it's a problem. It's not really. This is just my silly little hair. I'm sure if I looked at your hair, I'd probably connect it to some memory. Hopefully not a tragic memory. Do you voice your own character? Yeah, I do. I voice a few of them. I'm not gonna fall for the sock on bit. Today was such a bad day, and then you start streaming. Oh. I'm sorry that your day kind of sucked. I will try my best to be pleasant and vibe out. Did a little meditation before stream. Oh, your hair is great. Thank you. I like how Bung looks. Thank you, Lobster. What is on the inside matters. That's true. That's true. It matters a lot more. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Peter Tripoli. Have I eaten reindeer? I can't say I have. What's going on? Just vibing out, you know? Sitting here, just relaxing. Didn't you used to be a Triceratops man? Part of me wants to ask you to stop. That you don't need to be typing in all caps, but that's probably the only reason I'm reading you at this point. Yeah, I did used to be, and then I changed. Episode 1 Cannibal Gay. Thanks, Prof. Thank you so much. You should go watch Umami. I have watched Umami. I fucking love Umami. Love them. Love that fucking show they're doing. Interface. Do you regret that you'll be known as Bung for the rest of your life? Not really. You know, unless something tragic happens that is somehow deeply related to that name, then I don't think I would really care. I would prefer it if I somehow changed my name, go back in time, change my name, but I don't know how much that would affect history. Prof X episode 1 cannibal. Eats Prof's ass. Just joined, how you doing? Not bad, Hendrik. Just sitting here and interacting with the viewer base. With the folks that watch my stuff. Because interaction's good even if it's just these sort of simpler ones. That's all some people can get sometimes. Dude, less than 200 viewers dead. Yeah, I know. My channel wasn't really made on the sort of like trajectory of, let's say, like somebody who uploads every week or twice a week. No, my channel is dead. But enough people show up and are interested and waiting that, like, I sort of compare myself to those channels that upload once a year now, where there is kind of like a pretty small but dedicated fan base, but it kind of grows and catches fire whenever I upload. So it's like, huh, this is how this organism lives, you know? Like, I upload Confinement and then, you know, I get millions of views. And then channel's dead, like it hibernates for a year. It's like its own kind of ecosystem. But, you know, I don't really care because I'm not the kind of person who just likes to brag about the numbers and stuff. I used to a little bit, and it was weird because even at the time I didn't think I would be that person. But sometimes I would just compulsively do it for just some reason. Like I would just brag about something, and I have no idea where the fuck it came from. But every time it happens, more and more often, I've been like noticing it and just being like, what the fuck? Why did I say that? Why did I brag about my whatever? You know? It's like, well, obviously it's insecurity. Everybody's insecure. Insecurity just comes in, sneaks in, and it gives in a sneaky little thought. Can you say poggers? Poggers. Poggers. Love your videos. Thank you, Dio0. Do you smoke weed? And if so, would you like to totally not smoke weed off camera while I do the same? You know what, Michael Rootledge? That sounds like a good idea. But not right now. I'll do it in a second. You promise you talk about tomato. You're right. You're fucking right. Whoa, hey, thank you, Link Holder, for the $5. Going to work here soon. Have a coffee on me. I appreciate the fuck out of that. Thank you so much, Link. Yeah, so tomato. Did anybody see Cars 2? That's the one where Maida was the main character, if you could fucking imagine that. If you could stomach that thought for a minute. Sorry, I'm being so mean already. But Maida ends up in a little spy mission because these British spies think he's the American spy because they think so little of Americans that they just sort of assume that he was he was what they were going for. Not gonna lie, I might be tomato. I believe it. I believe we do an IRL meetup and then a big truck drives up. I'm like, hey, why isn't Prof coming out of the truck? And then there's the truck blinks at me and I shit myself and die. Show us your quarks, Bong. My quarks? I don't think my quarks can be visible on this camera. It's not quite powerful enough to measure that microscopic unit. Coffee is seriously overrated. Well, okay. Cars 2, greatest movie ever. At least we could agree on that, Byzantine boy. See ya, Vinjuna. When are you going to make another SCP video? I'm making it. It's just taken a really long time. There were a bunch of road bumps along the way. Luckily, I don't see any road bumps in the foreseeable future. Like right now, I think everything's pretty tight and organized together, and I'm pretty motivated to work basically 5 days a week, specifically on this show. But I forgot the question. We need Cars 2 content again. Do you mean what do you mean we need Cars 2 content again? Like, you mean we need Cars 3? Or, because Cars 3 is out. There are no spies in it though, so it's not quite as good. Why are there more monkeys each stream? Can we call these streams Monkey Thursdays? We can, Scorp. I'm so sorry. Giving you the accent. What do you think about Soul? Yeah, nah. Soul? I don't know, is that a show? Danny, what's your favorite car from Cars? DreamWorks animated movie. Personally, I'm a Wingo man. I think it's actually a Pixar movie. So get out of here, fake fan. And I'm more of a DJ. I'm more of a DJ. Who was one of the 4 gangster cars in the movie. Whatever. What was this? You peaked with the worst car collisions in history. No matter how hard you try, they will never be topped. You're so right. I've been living that life. Hey, thanks for the pound. Commodore toast. Commodore toast. Commodore toast. Commodore toast. Bong, you should direct Cars 4. Well, I have some news for you. I'm actually producing Cars 4. Not directing it. Which is a shame. Because now I'm broke. Because I gave all my money to Cars 4. Those monkeys are having fun in every lives. More fun than you. You're correct. There's like, you cannot top what the pure joy, presumably, of a monkey. I mean, maybe not these ones, just because their homes have been destroyed. So I don't know. Maybe they have like got an edge to them. You know, you know. They like developed a hard shell. I heard we're talking Terminator, the greatest character in cinema history. You are correct. Voiced by Larry the Cable Guy. Obviously a very hysterical gentleman. Does he voice in all of the Tomato shorts? Because if you go into like Disney Plus, there are like 9 short films of Maida telling a bullshit story that turns out to be true in the end. Where he was in Japan one time and turned into a dragon or something. Why don't you go to the studio with confinement? I don't know how to do that shit. I don't know who wants to do that. I haven't heard of anyone interested in doing that. I think monkeys are inherently funny. Love them. I agree. I want a Scooby-Doo gritty reboot. We all do. We all fucking do. Sorry, everyone. I was just enjoying this image of a turtle that my mind created. It's a little sea turtle, and you know what? Join me in this journey. Hey Thomas, we're all Larry the Cable Guy tonight. Fucking. Ugh. You compare me to Larry the Cable Guy. The only cable I'll be thinking about is the one I'm gonna unplug on my fucking hospital bed. If you compare me to Larry the Cable Guy. Is that Lo-Fi Steven Universe theme? You know what? That's what I thought it was. Yeah, I thought that was that absolutely. I reckon that was it. Thoughts on She-Ra? I haven't actually seen past the first episode yet. I need to continue it. Oh, man. Can we see the turtle? Yeah, alright, hold on. Sorry, imagine a turtle. A sea turtle. A really, really big sea turtle. And it's glowing in this radiant, bright, blue, cyan kind of color. It's lighting up this dark ocean. You can see just how deep the ocean is with how bright this turtle is. Congratulations, you now have a turtle that glows and it's in your mind. I gave it to you. That'll be $10. Controversial opinion. I think weed is not that good of a thing. I don't really have any context for what you mean by not that good of a thing, because I don't know what that good is. It's just a plant, you know. Use it sometimes. I don't think somebody smoking weed or not smoking weed necessarily have any more good guy points. I think it's context of how you use it, when you use it, why you're using it. You know, I think it's a bit nuanced. Like, weed is just a thing that grows naturally. It's not it doesn't matter if we like it or not. It's gonna be there, right? It's always gonna be there. So, yeah. That's like really noisy. What is the music? Let me know if it's that. I don't care where you from. That's funny right there. Larry the Cable Guy after running over people in his magic tractor. Oh my god. Thank you, but I'm broke. Fair enough. Hey, when are my pizza pockets are going to be done? I don't know. I'm not a psychic. I don't know anything about pizza pockets. Never seen one in my life. I saw someone streaming. I just saw me streaming. Maybe it was me. A light went up with you. Absolutely, dude. Bongs just make me sleepy. Yeah, that happens sometimes to me. While weed is not inherently bad, the only bad effect is that it affects people differently. Yeah, well, that's how you experience life, though. I mean, everybody is different. Everything will be affecting on them differently. This idea that we have, that these categories that we've created about how life should be or how we should expect life, is not nearly as airtight as we like to think it is. It's incredibly nuanced and almost arbitrary, and based entirely on these assumptions that we call culture. You go, yeah, of course it makes sense that we divide things. Really? Does it? Does it actually? You know, like, sincerely ask yourself that. Thank you for the image of the turtle. Here's $10. Thank you, Yayoi Newman. Thank you so much. I was kind of hoping, like, at least one person would do that. Just as, like, a joke. But, thank you so much. This is important. 50 grams of weed, now you with the ACT. Can't do it. Have you ever had the thought that one of your close friends is just in your head and everyone around you is just going with it? I've had the thought many times, but it never made sense. It was just contextually. Like, if I saw that a friend looked left out in a group, I would feel like, man, are they even real? Like, it was, because it was like two little worlds colliding. And I guess my brain was like, not processing it, I guess. Yeah, you do what you gotta do, Charlie. I'm probably gonna be streaming for an hour and a half, so if that helps draw me like your SCP goals. Hey, and D Mouse. A weird dream last night. I was having art lessons from God, and all of a sudden I was in hell. It was a truly blizzard dream. It is kind of crazy. That's an interesting one. You were getting art from God lessons. You were getting God as your art teacher for art lessons. That's an interesting dream, because, like, art is kind of... the way some people describe art is that it is kind of like divine. It is because it's just raw creativity. It's just like you are giving into this thoughtless process going on inside of you that creates the artwork that you see. Because you aren't saying anything. You aren't using the same part of your brain that is trying to problem solve. You're using a completely different part of your mind where you are just reacting to the line that is being drawn, and that's what turns the directions. And the relationship between the object in front of you and then your hand and then your entire arm and then your mind, also where you're sitting and all that, there's a kind of it kind of trains you in a way to just like empty and purify yourself and be one with the divine, as the way some people call it. And that's why like it was a huge deal for there to be art in all of the major religions, but also just like in all forms of spirituality. So art is always a big part of it because it is divine. It's creation. Yeah, it's creation. It's God. Need to have some more insane dreams like last night where I was being harassed by a bug. Alright. See ya, ODST Republic. So what you're saying is, I'm God. I think, well, we're all God. Every single one of us is a pinpoint in this thing called reality. And we're all completely connected. And we're all God. On every single level, in every single way. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I had a dream where I ripped someone's spine out, then the next day I heard dreams have a 90% chance of predicting the future. Bad news, someone's gonna die. Good news, I'll kill them like Doom Guy. Interesting. I'm not sure about that 90% thing. I'm sure you'd be able to associate some form of predictability with your dreams. Especially if you remember it harder. Like if you have a weird dream and you're like, what does it mean? And it really stays in your head for such a long period of time that anything similar to it you would associate with that memory. That's not to say that it isn't fascinating and mystical. I mean, it kind of is, because like you don't know what's going to trigger it. Whatever happens, happens. You're just going to be along for the ride, and then you can be cynical about it, or you can be like, oh, actually, these aspects of my life are pretty significant, and I should be more excited and open to what the universe has in store for me. I figured you were stoned. I love your animations. Thank you. Discord. What's a Discord? Oh my god. I get what you mean. The Discord link in your stream description as well. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Server settings. No wait. Alright, there we go. Discord. Save. There we go. The Discord link is in the description of this stream now, probably. Probably. Barack Obama. I'm getting sent some good memes. Thank you, Sokoa, for the $1 with the R. I don't know what the R is. Thank you for whatever amount that you've sent me. I appreciate it. tying to the art thing, before the Renaissance, they couldn't even tie reality entirely onto paintings. It took someone to make an equation in order for them to accomplish basic 3D perspective. Yeah, like we just take it as a basic, like we take it as the basis for all of like scene design. But if you've paid attention to what you're seeing throughout the day, you know, going around your house, going around buildings, it feels entirely different from, and it looks entirely different from so much classical artwork, which just became the sort of basis. And we look at other cultures; they have completely different art structure, and there's and it's a completely cultural thing. Like this assumption of this is what art is, and this is how art should look, and this is normal. This is just a standard. We don't even question it. It just happens. And then you have all these TV shows and all of these cartoons, which have a very bland structure visually. It's like, I feel like I'm kind of like I'm also guilty of that though. So, but I've been lately trying to move further and further away from that. But that's also part of the reason why the animation is taking so long. So yeah, it's literally gonna be quality over quantity. Yeah. How long do you think are the dog and the monkey friends? What a sweet question. I hope forever. Frosted scales. Yeah, sure. I'll check out your art. Where have you been posting it? Just shut up, prof. See that one? Oh my god, Scorp. Thank you. Thank you all for sending your funny haha memes at me while I'm on stream. Show off your content, I'm assuming. Oh, wow. That's a cool gun you drew. Frosted scales. That's neat. Yeah. Yeah, when you begin to realize, when you start waking out of the dream that what you assumed was normal to the point where you didn't even question it ever, but you have still been affected by it somehow. What was I saying? Yeah, when you wake up from the dream that this thing that you thought was completely normal in all of reality actually turns out to be, you know, maybe a decision made by somebody from the past that was manipulative, or some other form of like terrible lie that shaped your life. That's called an awakening. And so a lot of the political awakenings, a lot of political awakening has been happening lately, especially since coronavirus. And so a lot of people have actually been doing stuff instead of just typing about it and, you know, Twitter and shit. I mean, I don't mean to discount it. That Twitter is useful, but you know what I mean. But that's a political awakening. And so basically a spiritual awakening, from my understanding, is like the next step, where you begin to wake up to the realization that everything that you think that you are all just things that you've done in the past that you've cemented as what you think you should be, or what other people think you should be, and you didn't have a choice in any of it, but you also have complete and total choice in changing it. And, you know, if you can sort of get over that without getting depressed, it's kind of like the next step, from what I can tell. Politics are frozen because of said virus. Both. I mean, you have a lot of people like protesting regardless of the virus, which is already like a bit more insane than just regular protesting. Not that protesting is insane, but I mean like a bit more like real political activism. Because you're going despite a virus, and it's like, wow, they're serious about this. Um, so I would argue that politics is even more intense, and also not to mention the BLM protests going all over America for a while. That a funny shaped dude on the right. He do be. Are you high? Yeah, just a little bit. I dreamt about a streamer I was prank calling, wanting to catch me and swap tongues so he can have my voice. Kind of Terminator 2. It's interesting. That's an interesting one. Am I weird for loving nightmares? They help me solve my fears. It doesn't matter if I think you're weird. I mean, if you think loving nightmares is a problem, then maybe you could explore that feeling if that's how you feel. But only you can figure out how to do that, because those are your feelings. Some dude wants to know what animation software you use. I don't use one. I use Sony Vegas Pro 13. I had my spiritual awakening after smoking way too much DMT a couple of years back. Oh, I fucking bet. I won't even touch that stuff. I'm too scared of that. Like, because I had, I don't like calling it a spiritual awakening so often because it's kind of cheesy. But I had my character development turning point, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's not to say that there aren't going to be a bunch of turning points in my life. I think there'll be plenty. But I had like a really big one when I was on psychedelics. Kind of just reshaped everything. It's like, well, I can't go back now. I have to go this way. I like your confinement a lot. Thank you. I like you, bro. You's chillin'. Hell yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alright, good night, gender fluid spaghetti. So, Lord, what you smoking tonight? Just regular old Bible verses. I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to say it on stream. It's a joke, stream. It's a joke. Do you stream often? Yeah, like once or twice a week. TMT's only good if you're in a safe environment. Yeah, I bet. Alright, see you later, Eddie the Pro. Is it that animation is hard or more time consuming? It's more time consuming. Like, it's not difficult, it's not complicated, it's just like, you know. And even though I still am basically working most days, things are going quite good. There is also still like days where I wake up because I wasn't breathing right in my sleep and I have really low energy, and it's like, oh, fuck, you know, I can't do anything on those days. Those days sometimes happen just because, you know, bad breathing tubes I've got, you know. How did you learn about enlightenment? Oh, it's just a word. It's like I'm using it as like a joke in the stream, but like it is a thing. I just don't like using it as a word, and yet here I am using it as a stream title. Here we go. I mean, enlightenment is just the way they describe it in Buddhism is very similar to how they describe it in so many spiritual groups around the globe. With Hinduism, there's a Buddhist Hindu sort of hybrid in Nepal. There are all sorts of indigenous tribes that have a very similar idea about, and also Western magic and esotericism also have this idea of this sort of oneness that you can reach, this singularity, this stillness, this silence, this emptiness, but it's like a positive one. It's where we all came from, and it's where we're all going. You know, some people call it death. Hey, thank you for the €1, Eric Schmidt. Some people call it death, and a lot of people who have near-death experiences or really intense psychedelic experiences, they end up, or like people who have meditated for like a super long time, they end up in this place where they are somehow behind all of their thoughts, all of their feelings, all of their sensations, and they're in this place outside of time where they get to observe reality without the without these grueling labels and compulsive little chattering going on in their head. It's all gone. And when I first experienced it, I was so I thought I died, because I was so deeply rooted in the chattering that was going on in my head that, you know, since I was a kid, I didn't think I could stop. Like, as a little kid, I got caught in these anxious loops, you know, I was like on the spectrum or something. And I was just like stuck, constant chatter going on in my head, constant labeling, constant judgment, constant fear, constant blah, 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 blah. And for years and years and years, I got so rooted into that chatter, to all of those words, that I thought that was it. That was normal. This is how my mind is. This is how we live. And so when that died, for lack of a better word, when that died, I thought I was dying. I was like, holy shit, I can't remember anything. This is it. I'm gone. I can't think anymore, you know? But what it taught me was that there's actually a more subtle way of living that actually works if you want peace and quiet and clarity and creativity and love. It's just chilling the fuck out and staying in the moment, like right in front of you. The next thing you have to deal with is the only thing you have to deal with. And yeah, it's been working out for me so far. You ever had a burnout from animating? Yeah, back when I was like not very good at back when I was less healthy mentally. Sorry, I kind of brain farted, but I'm high, so is death just another transition in your mind? Yeah, I think it is. Enlightenment is coming to terms with death in a positive manner. It is the whole reason my username is Grim Reaper. Death isn't really something to fear. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's beautiful. The acid held me back for a while, but I realize now that those aren't monkeys at all. They're orangutans. It's true. Monkey's just a funny word we like to use. I want peace, quiet, creativity, and love. You can get one of those things. If you open your mouth, I'm sorry, I'm not sure why I went there. Yeah, how's your back, man? It's alright. How do you do your haircut? Just shave the sides, you know? And then I just have this fluffy hair that I put to the side. That shouldn't be feared. The curse is birth. I mean, it does kind of start all of suffering, doesn't it? You get thrusted into the world, traumatized by seeing light for the first time. Or light of that frequency for the first time. sound at that frequency for the first time, I should have said. Uh, breathing air, imagine that for the first time. Oof. When is 8 coming out? Nope, it's, you just gotta wait. It's being made. I don't know when it's coming out. Death is just a process. It's clearly exposed in its bad in Book of the Dead. Yeah, it's a process, and it's really hard for people to kind of grasp, because we get this idea of we people, at least in the West, in the developed West, which is where I'm from. I just can't. I used to have a hard time understanding that idea, because I just thought, like, oh, it's like, you know, in the cartoons when your soul flies out of a body and then you go to heaven or whatever. But then when I experienced egolessness from that really intense moment, I completely understood it. It's like, oh, okay, wow. And, you know, as the days went on, when I sort of, like, was coming down from all that, it became increasingly difficult for me to put into words what it was, but I know so deeply what it is. It's this crazy feeling. You know, I still have the imprint of that memory, and that's kind of what's, it's completely changed the trajectory of my life. No, I don't think I've heard of that place. Sorry, Scott Goodrich. Recently, my teacher started teaching me how to draw, and my sister started teaching me how to draw, and when I did my first work of art on the computer, I think I actually have real talent for it. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, if you think you'd have fun doing it. Oh my god, Alexis, thank you. Thank you for the 6969. It's incredible. Skip episode 8, go straight to 9. You got it. I was heavily into mindset till I began dwelling into existentialism. Did read Kierkegaard and then stumbled upon Camus and Sartre, but the wake-up call came from Thomas Ligotti. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would, like, always search for people to blow my mind, and there are a few, but, like, the actual experience of, like, thinking like, the experience was the thing that helped, like, that really started it, and I think I mean, that really says a lot. Alan Watts was one of those really good ones, but it didn't matter how much I just, like, listened to people talk about, you know, using words to tear apart words. I had to have words torn apart in my head. I had to be unable to form words in my mind to finally accept that there was more to reality than the words that I used to make up reality. You know? Like, from so many years, my idea of reality was based heavily on words and the association with words and the definition with words and the history with words that I'm using to describe my surroundings. Otherwise, I would just numb it out and ignore it, and I would experience so little in life, you know? It'll just be like looking down at my shoes while I walk to school, kind of, you know, like a miserable, you know, teenager, young adult. You sound very cooked. Thank you. My life sucks, man, but my dog right next to me, so it's not that bad. Amen. You'll have to be patient, Stuart Pot. I just realized what Discord means. Yeah, it took me a while too, and then I used it because I was celebrating figuring out what it means. There's way more to reality, more than words can explain, more than we can see, more than we can comprehend. Absolutely. Because you can't have comprehensible reality without an incomprehensible reality. Otherwise, you don't have context for what comprehensible is. You know? Like, there's always going to be something beyond our grasp. And that, for some people, that kills them. They want to be able to know everything and understand everything, so they simplify it and reduce it to words. But you know, there's actually like a Zen teacher. There are quite a few Zen teachers who would describe Zen as they would just make a sound by hitting something. They're just like, or like a bell, just bing, and they would say that's it, because it can't be a word. It can't be a word, and yet it is. It's Zen, but you know, it in a world where everybody else is giving something words, you know. Not that words aren't useful, it's just that words aren't necessarily inherently meaningful, that we just placed meaning onto them. And people fucking get to arguments about it. Any tips for getting motivated to do things again? It's been so hard right now, and I've never felt this bad before. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, just make it so that you trick yourself into doing things. I know it sounds silly, but humans are creatures of habit, and I mean that on like the deepest possible level. We will literally just do it because we've been doing it for a while. So if you get yourself into a habit of doing something, just like one thing a day, and just be okay with not being okay about it. You know, you're going to be sad. You're going to be upset for whatever reason. Just let yourself be sad when you need to. You don't need to make it longer than it needs to be. In other words, you don't need to think about it while you're being sad. You can just be sad. And then thoughts will come. You don't have to egg on the thoughts. You don't have to egg on the emotions. Just be sad when you're sad. Be happy when you're happy. Do little things throughout the day that become a habit, and trick your brain into thinking that things are great. And then things will become great because you've made them great. You know? It's all perspective. Nothing objectively changes in your life. In anyone's life. It's all just completely perspective. If you have the perspective that things are going to go downhill, then everything that comes into your field of vision is you're going to interpret it as a sign that things are going downhill. But if you see things positively, then the things that come into your life, like, it's going to be positive. And the vast majority of shit that come into your life is it's like basically neutral anyway. Based on your mood, you'll be like, oh, that's great. It's like, oh, I don't need that right now. You know, like, there are just like a few things, you know, like, oh, you have cancer or something. I don't know. But even then, there are people who get the news that they have cancer, and they chill the fuck out, and they stop worrying, and they're actually quite happy, because it changed their perspective on what their previous problems were like. You know, these insurmountable demons that cause them anxiety on a daily level. And then when they get told, like, oh, you actually only have a few months to live, and it's like, oh, just dropped a huge weight off my back. And many people process death in a positive way. Not everybody, but you know. When death is coming to you, when death is being experienced to you, and even though what I had, it wasn't technically death, I thought I was dying, and so my mind processed in a way that was accepting my death. And even though I survived, at that moment in time, I thought I was dying, and truly deeply down, I thought I was dying, and I went through the process of accepting it. And then I came out, and I'm like, whoa, okay, things are actually great. Actually, like, you know, like when you wake up out of bed and you sort of just stumble to the whatever, I like looking around. I like taking in the view of my hallway, of my bathroom, of my backyard, you know. even though I have like sleeping problems, I'm still more awake than I've ever been. And so I appreciate the fuck out of that. What do you think is more important? Scientific, economic progress of society, or freedom of the individual participating in the society? Damn, I have no idea. Freedom of the individual participating in the society. I think the freedom of the individual, just because, like, what are we doing it for otherwise? I wouldn't, I mean, I'd say more than freedom of the individual. I would also say, like, everybody's ability to just live without having to stress out so fucking much just to be able to, or work so insanely much just to live. There's a film by Akira Kurosawa that does communicate that feeling. Which feeling was I talking about? Which film are you talking about? And what subject did you mean? Ugh. Imagine you're the only human left with all the information and history of humanity, and you are an immortal. Would you let go everything or try to accomplish the things that humanity never did? If I was the last human left, I mean, I'm gonna, for a few days, I guess maybe for a while, I'd probably be mourning. I don't know how long I'd be mourning that. I'd have to really come to terms with it. Probably end up seeing things and just accepting that this is reality now. I don't know. I think I just vibe out. Do I know I'm immortal? If I do, then I feel like that'll also change my personality significantly to a point where I don't even know how to answer the question anymore. Like everyone on Earth disappears, so there goes my entire context for my social role, and my familial role, and my friend role, and my whatever role. Not sure how the title was translated in English, but it's something in the line of living or live. It's mostly Kurosawa dealing with the trauma of his brother's suicide. Oh shit. To live? Ikiru? Is it Ikiru? There's a man, black and white film of a man sitting in a swing set. Embracing whimsically the temporal nature of beauty really got me over existential dread. Thanks to Lyson Jaffe. I'll check out that person too. Just American actor, voice actor, ADR, director. Alright. Most favorite memory of seeing you IRL was when you were making a joke about a big black Coke bottle and hearing you talk about really sophisticated stuff is messing with me, but I'm here. Interesting. I remember that, William. Even though there's only one bullet per zombie, cowboys could still use their guns in melee combat if they are fast enough. What? Hey Bung, how you doing? What's the topic? Oh, that's up to you, man. Just pop in whatever you want. We were talking about death. Hell yeah. One of the best streams I've seen. Thank you. So I was just watching my favorite episode of Midnight Gospel, which was Annihilation of Joy. So I'm really in the mood for talking about death and birth and how they're just two things on the same cycle. Two ends of the same cycle. Well, they're not even ends, they're just like things that it's like, imagine a big circle. It's quite culturally significant, this circle being used as symbols in all sorts of cultures around the globe. Hey, does anybody know how to clean wax out of like a cup? Sorry to just change the subject real quick, but I'm really fucking high and I I don't know how to clean a wax out of a cup. So like just hot water or something, does that work? Fucking, I don't know. Cars 2 video game Let's Play 1. Jeez, that's the one I haven't played. Am I late? A little bit. It's all good. Yeah, cheese is good. Do you ever use your imagination to escape the reality around you? Yeah, absolutely. I don't really try to all the time, but when I'm sleeping, it's kind of hard to avoid it. You know, throughout the day, I try to be quite present. And lately I've been doing little rituals to try and encourage that presence and encourage that stillness and peace and calm inside of me. Like sometimes I even pause on stream for an extended period of time because it challenges that part of me that gets anxious that I'm quiet for too long on stream, and then I'm just like, staying quiet, you know. Thank you, Zoe Ducky. I'm not sure how to feel about the entire comment. Boiling hot water, wax floats to the top and you pour it out. Oh, thank you so much. That's actually really good. Is the cup heat resistant? I think so. About the Give Up Hope episode. Yeah, that's the one. Annihilation of Joy. Yeah, I should totally watch Swiss Army Man. What if Earth is a waiting room and you're waiting to be judged for your past sins and avoiding death is missing your appointment, but suicide is getting to your appointment too early? Yeah, that's one way of viewing it. Hey, buying new nails? Yeah. Blue. Got some blue ones. Oh, throw the cup out of the window. Oh, it was a cool cup. Hi from Russia. Hey, Privyet. Privyet from Australia. Greetings from Mexico. Hey. Buenos dias. But like in Midnight Gospel, do you believe that fear of death is a hopeless venture? I mean, a fear of death is going to happen anyway, but you don't need to, you don't need to reinforce it, you know, because we're all gonna die at some point anyway. So maybe at least explore why you're afraid of, well, anything, first of all, but if you have a fear, you know, it's probably a good idea to explore it in a healthy setting at your own pace. But if you're so afraid of death, maybe explore how death is completely relevant to 50% of everything in your perceived reality. You know, you owe everything to death. You came from death. You were from the same place that you were gonna go to. You know, you were born from nothingness. You'll go back to nothingness. It's just a stage of life. You know. Death isn't like you were extinguished. You simply transform into a much more singular form, this thing called nothingness, which is the glue that binds thingness together, because you can't have nothingness without thingness, because otherwise you don't have context for either. That's true, Grim Reaper. This is my Zoom. This is what my Zoom class looks like. Yeah. Rotating monkey, rotating alien on a bong. For some reason when you said wax, I thought you meant earwax. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have much context else for wax in your life. Turtle art coming from Alaska. Not sure what that means, but that sounds great. Turtle art coming from Alaska, guys. Can we talk about something a little bit more positive and something listing negative, including death? Okay, well, you suggest a subject, because if you just tell me to stop talking about it, I'm just going to be silent. Have you ever watched or know about Lupin 3? The English dub for the new 3D CGI movie got released recently. It's pretty epic, the movie and franchise. I feel like it's right up many people's alley. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to take up the offer whenever it comes to me. I'm trying to make it that death isn't a negative thing. Death has just been taught to us to be a negative thing. And, you know, I'm not saying, you know, to go and commit suicide or do something dangerous. Because, I mean, if that is your reaction to me saying death is not that bad, then you have been, well, propagandized culturally to feel that it is either one or the other. You must either fear death so intensely, and fear those uncomfortable feelings that are associated with death so intensely, or you must die. There's no other option. No, come on. Death is a completely normal part of reality. It's the safest thing we can do, and everybody does it. You know? What you do, isn't it liberating though? Like, you know, everything that you do, everything that you work for, everything that you suffer from, everything that's ever happening to you right now is all going to disappear someday. And doesn't that make this less serious, less stressful? I don't have to be working at a certain standard to appease some kind of thing. I do what I do because I love it. You know, I do my job because I love my job, not because I think I need money. I know I need to pay my rent, but that's not why I'm doing it. I love my job and I do what I do because it's what I want to do. And doing anything aside from what you want to do is pointless in a world where everything disappears in the end. By saying death is not that bad, you are saying life is not that good, in my opinion. Okay, well, that's absolutely not... I don't know how you got that math. Okay. No, life is great. Death is also great. I'm saying death is not that bad in response to people's overall negative reaction to death in the chat when I was talking about it. What are your thoughts on the power of immortality? Do you think an immortal could exist without eventually going insane? I mean, if an immortal exists for millions of years and then they, quote, go insane, what would they be insane in context to? If everybody else is dead, for example. That would just be their species. He would be an entire species of people who we might pathologize as insane based on normal human living, but if you're immortal, that's just what happens, right? But maybe they won't go insane. You know, maybe they'll find a total peace with it. Death just exists. We don't need to bind emotion onto it. Yeah, and even, I mean, that's easier said than done, obviously. Like, we do bind emotion to it, but acknowledge that these emotions also change, and that it isn't the end of the world. It isn't going to be how you're going to feel forever. These are all temporary emotions, and these bodies are temporary bodies. It's just an idea. And a lot of us in the developed West hide our bodies away from the rest of society. Hey, thank you, Ian Mednick, for the $2. Life is a movie and you're the protagonist, I think is a good way to look at things. Can. Okay, again, the outsiders, you're gonna have to provide a topic, or else I'm not going to change the subject. I'm just gonna, you know. Hey, Lish, what's up? Every stream we have an existential crisis. Bung is our resident good boy who is very supportive and smart and is the voice of reason and confidence. Well, thank you. It's very sweet of you. Because God's optimistic nihilism video is worth a watch. I need to see that. It assumes that life is better than death, but the alternative perspective is not to say, no, they're both not meaningful. It is to say they're both meaningful and the value judgment is useless. Okay, yeah, well, life is and death is. Are you happy? It is what it is, and there's no point in attaching good and bad to either of them because they both only exist in context of each other, and therefore you can't say life is good and death is bad. You can only acknowledge them as the same thing. They are the same thing because a lack of it is what death is, and the presence of it is what life is. They are only different in the degree to which they exist, but they are the same thing. Life and death are the exact same thing. New topic. Any games you've been partaking in lately? Thank you, $2 for frosted. Thank you for the $2 frosted scale. Sorry. Yes, Lego Jurassic World. I tried to play it on stream last week, and then the stream crashed. That's my gaming story. I'm not a gamer. I'm sorry. Hey, I love your animations. They're funny and cool. Thank you. I did say I wasn't going to be talking about enlightenment, though. So this is, this is your fault. I agree with you. I'm scared of death, but then again, because of death, I don't have to worry about the future or about anything. That's true. If you lived forever and you had infinite responsibilities, and you'd hate that, And it feels like we have infinite responsibilities when we're stressed out. It feels like it's a bigger deal than it is. And if you were immortal and there actually was a bigger deal than it is, then, oh, fuck. Fuck that, Need more info on glowy sea turtle. Okay. On his back is a glowing owl, and it is green glowing, so it's a different kind of algae glowing green. The glowing turtle is sinking deeper and deeper, well, swimming deeper and deeper into the dark abyss. You can barely see the rays of sun from the ceiling of the ocean, from the shore, whatever, where the water meets the sky, you know what I mean? And it's getting deeper and deeper, and this turtle is now followed by a pod of normal whales, which are still quite small compared to the turtle, and this big owl. They're swimming down, down, and down until there's just a ball of light, a ball of blue and green light, with a big turtle, an owl, and a bunch of whales. There you go. Does the turtle have any friends? Just got a few, just now. I'd rather have infinite responsibilities than death. Fair enough, If it went for death, your current life would never exist. One of the first things I teach in biology. Yeah, death's all around us. It's just we need to make it less scary because of how relevant it is to our everyday, Where does our anxiety come from? It comes from a fear that we'll run out of time to do the things that we want to do. It comes from fear, full stop, which comes from wanting to not die. That's our basic DNA striving towards replication. But knowing that, you don't have to take it so seriously. It's just a compulsion in your body, just like every other compulsion. And so you go, oh, okay. Well, I'm feeling scared. But once you just acknowledge it for what it is, when you see it from this point of view where you stepped away from it, you notice that it just kind of flows through you, like in Dune, like the quote in Dune where it's like, let fear flow through me like a sky and a cloud or some shit like that, something like that. How many times a day are you asked if you're gay? Not as many as you probably think. You're a wise man, thank you. Glowing turtle will be forgotten eventually, and it will cease. It won't even feel it, and it won't care. Yeah, but he would have lived, and I, for one, am happy to live in a universe where I told that little turtle story. I just created a turtle, and in the realm of imagination, where all of imagination, every single thought that you could think of that somebody else has made, think of all the good ones, The turtle lives in that exact same realm, structurally. And it's not an insignificant realm. That realm affects the real world very significantly. Ideas, beliefs, thoughts. These all have an extremely real effect on the quote real world, you know. Sorry, you two, I can't read that. Can't read that. Do you like pigeons? Yeah, they're pretty good. What will you do first if you can travel through multiverses? I'd probably look for like the really ridiculous ones, like, you know, world where everyone's made of ice cream. No, actually, no, but that'd probably be terrifying. Yeah, careful what I wish for, I guess. I don't know, I'd go to some universe where some like stupid thing is in excess that I like, and that I could just get it without having to pay a whole bunch of money. You know, like, oh, here's a universe where stock market for this crash, and now you can just get fucking all these Lego sets for $10, you know. Some crazy shit. My doomsday death anxiety, I think, comes from a bunch of kids trapping me in 2 soccer goals, chanting around it and saying the world is ending when I was 5 or 6. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. The turtle is just as real as everything else. Exactly. Because if everything is connected, which it is, and I don't mean that in like a detective, everything's connected kind of way. I mean, everything has an effect on each other. So the realm of thoughts has an effect on the realm of the physical. And the physical realm has an effect on the realm of thoughts. You know, your ideas come from your experience in the real world, but the decisions that you make are guided by the thoughts in the realm of thoughts. So thoughts are just as real in that sense. Meaning that the turtle that I just described is real. A bunch of people are just thinking about him. You know? And even if it was just me, I was just thinking about him. That turtle's real. I just can't tell you where the turtle is in the world, because it isn't in the world in that way. But if everybody thought it, like this turtle was real, just for real, you know, like sincerely, then it might as well be real. You know, you're just living in a world in which people live that. You know, it's crazy. I'm so confused and scared at the same time. Fair enough. Monkey brain. What do you think happens after death? Well, you return to this state that some people call nothingness, which in the Kabbalion they call it the all. In Buddhism they call it the bardo, which is just this state of what you are without your physical body, without consciousness. Which, as far as we can tell, from neurological scanning, there is still a sort of presence that happens even when the brain is dead, from people who have come back, you know, from people who have been claimed legally dead and came back, or people who have gone in such a deep coma or unconsciousness. Just because you think of something doesn't mean it's real. No, it is real in that it is a thought. Like, it is a thought that is now in the real world. We are talking about it. So therefore, it is a thing that has an effect on the real world. In reality, it is real. You know, real is what you experience. Real isn't, you know, there is like, if you want to make it material, you could just say that you're a materialist and you just believe your understanding of how physics works and how science works, you know, however much that is. You just believe strictly in that, and you believe in anything that sounds like it fits into that category. But that is just one perspective of reality, and therefore there have to be other perspectives of reality. There isn't one perspective of reality. There have to be multiple. And so all of these realities are real. All of these perspectives are real. Because people go out throughout their life as if it were real. because of their experiences. That's how they interpreted reality. And who's to say your interpretation of reality is the objective one and everyone else is stupid? You know, that's complete arrogance. That's paranoia. You know, that's megalomania. To think that, and yet that's a completely acceptable personality trait to, you know, fucking give politicians and CEOs and just normal people in your life who are like, well, obviously I'm right and everybody else is insane or making shit up for attention. Not that people don't do that, but if that's your base assumption of everything just because it sits outside of your realm of acceptance, then maybe you can also question your level of acceptance. Perception is reality. Perception is reality. Your own personal perception. You're gonna have to wait, Maxam. Sorry. But then I see this guy's live make my day happy. Thank you, Endershot. The turtle is real because I'm drawing him as we speak. That's true. It's real, just like ideology, scientific theory, and math is real. Exactly. You can't show me where the science is. You can't be like, here is the science, it's 10 meters tall, and it's made out of... No, it's an idea that we get attached to and we think is true and real based on a really old thing that we did in the past that we have been repeating and claiming, and if it manages to survive to today, we claim a bunch of reasons as to why it's still here and why that makes it more valid and relevant and why it produces certain results, you know. But reality is not very consistent. Not everything in reality can be produced in a repeated fashion, in a quote scientific fashion, because there are so many things that happen in reality that only really happen once, you know. there are like crazy shit happens in lives, and if you, I mean, like, you know, if you haven't experienced anything crazy and random, then I'm not saying you haven't lived, but you probably have been quite safe or sheltered or something. I don't know. Is consciousness ultimately separate from the electrical system of the brain? If so, where is it? What properties does it have? My idea of consciousness is that, because if you peel back everything that makes up who you are physically and conceptually, your thoughts, which are just habits that you formed growing up because of that's what the other humans around you were doing. If you peel that back, because those things change, they obviously aren't you. If you keep going back, further and down, you end up with nothing. And now that's not, don't be disappointed, that's the soul. The soul is nothing. And the reason our locomotion, what makes us human is our ability to swap between being that nothingness and just taking everything in and letting it go through the maze that is our brain, and our brain shutting it off and going, nope, I don't want to look at that, I don't want to hear that, I don't want to think about that, I don't want to... It's the back and forth motion. We are just robots. We are just these little creatures that sometimes take in reality and sometimes close off reality, and a bunch of sequences like that in between to form things that we call personality, you know. So our soul is an empty void that is sucking in experience through the brain. And because our brain happens to be the most complicated of the creatures that we've discovered so far, we have the most, what we would call, profound and complex experience. And some of us pride ourselves on how complicated our experiences are. Some people pride themselves on just how much fun they're having, you know? I hope that made sense. How many episodes are there going to be? Probably 3 more. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 3 more. And then that'll be the season over. I think consciousness is the neural connection within your brain, basically memories. Well, your ability to remember things is just something that your brain does, but your consciousness is the thing that is experiencing those memories. So it can't be the memories because you experience the memories. So are you the memories? No, your memories change all the time. Every time you go back on a memory, it gets reconstructed even less accurately because of the brain is recreating the memory every time you think about it. So is this constantly changing thing all that you are, or is it that this nothingness inside of you that you might call a soul is actually what you might call yourself? Because there is no you, there is no actual individual you. There is no essential true you. There are just things happening chemically, molecularly, atomically right now that we, out of habit, have assigned all these labels. And to run a society, we have to separate people into these structures that make it so that people could take responsibility for certain things, or people could be assigned certain jobs or whatever. And so we end up with this mistaken identity where we think, this is me, this is me in context to society, me in context to my family, me in context to... But, if you were left alone, a lot of people don't like being left alone for this exact reason. They're left with the truth that we aren't actually anybody. We aren't a person. We aren't an individual. Reality is just happening in front of you, whether you can control it or not, whether you're in control or not, whether you think you're in control or not. In reality, you're both in control and not in control at the same time, which is confusing, but I think quite comforting. You are just about as control of your life as you are your breath. For the most part, you aren't in control of it. But you can pretend that you are and have fun. Enlighten me on info that you think I don't know. I don't think I know anything more than you. This is not me trying to be humble, and enlightenment has nothing to do with getting new information. It has to do with remembering who you are, which is nobody. You aren't anybody. You aren't a real person. Nothing has any essential truth. Nothing is essentially real. That doesn't mean things aren't real. I mean, your experience is what's happening to you right now. But you change so much over your life completely. Memories changing is why I keep a diary. Plus, it's good because mental health took a toll on my ability to hold memories. Yeah, fair enough. Is reality unreal and all of just on nothing? Well, no. Everything is changing constantly, so we can't pin down we can't get attached to this idea of what we are, because we will die one day, and then we will only panic because we think that our personality is real and belongs to us. It's not. It's just a series of things that are happening right now. Ever see a Bigfoot? There are real Bigfoot, is also known as SCP-1000. I haven't seen a Bigfoot, I'm sorry. Maybe the next time I go to America, maybe I'll see him. Life is a car and we're all just passengers. Absolutely. Come back to Earth, please, I miss you. Oh. I heard of last Thursdayism? No, enlighten me. One thing that is strange to think about is that every single moment becomes a memory almost immediately. That is why I'm terrified of getting a mental disability that affects memory when I grow old. Yeah. I mean, that would be rough. Are you even real, Bung? I mean, I'm real in this moment, but I am constantly, as I'm saying this word, as I'm saying all of these words, I am constantly changing. Molecularly, emotionally, physically. Everything about me is just layers and layers of lasagna of reality that I have separated into categories that I call myself, and my clothes, and my skin, and my organs, and my bones, just because they have different atomic densities. There's nothing inherently different about them. We simply perceive them that way. How stoned are you right now? Pretty stoned. Do you believe that infinity is everywhere? Well, you can't say that it's everywhere. It just is. It just is. You know. Maybe you could say reality. I don't know. I do die on stone. Is human curiosity what drives us to do so much, or is it our fear and drive for survival that get us to current state, which is the modern era? I don't know, kind of high right now. I get what you mean. Well, I could definitely see loads of people in society who live by fear, and then there are loads of other people who live by curiosity. And they could all be doing the exact same thing, they just have different perspectives on the world. So the people who live by fear are constantly filling up their entire vibe, their entire flow of energy. Everything that they are is just going to be based on this negative, I need to get away from this, God, I wish I was somewhere else right now, blah blah blah, I need to keep blah blah blah. Whereas somebody who lives on curiosity is somebody who is quite happy with where they are and what ends up in front of them, how their life turns out. Like, oh, what do you know? Even though they could be living the exact same life, they could be having very, very different emotional issues. Why are you sad? Smile, meet some people. Are you talking to me? I've been meeting lots of people, actually, and I'm very happy. We're always changing and growing and becoming better. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's just that a lot of people are comfortable with certain kinds of change, which kind of negates the spirit of change if you're only comfortable with certain change, because that just means you have locked into a pattern, a very safe pattern of how you want to approach reality. When reality doesn't work like that, sometimes change just fucking knocks you out of your body. Join the Discord and might be active. Turns out Bung isn't just a good artist, but a good person. Oh, thank you, Grim Reaper. I really appreciate that. Bung may be going through a midlife crisis early. I'm actually, this is the happiest I've been for years. Like, this year, ironically this year, I know how terrible this year's been. This year has been, it began it all. It began all the waking up every day and not wanting to die, you know? Yes, you are sad. Why am I sad? Do I look sad to you? I think maybe you're projecting, bro. Do you ever think about the call of the void, aka wanting to throw something precious to you into a river even though you don't want to, or being tempted to jump when you are on a high building? Like how our minds want to self-destruct because it's the easiest, strongest decision we can make in that moment. Yeah, absolutely. But I've experienced it in both an anxious, suicidal setting or a destructive, chaotic setting. But also I've experienced it in really calm, peaceful settings. And I think that's really interesting, that a part of us wants to go back. A sincere part of us wants to go back. Like a calm, sincere part of us wants to just do that. But then again, it could also just be fear. It's kind of up to you to sort of determine that. But personally, I've sort of seen that, I could just. I recently decided to start trying to practice stoicism. It's helped me manage my anger problems and other things. That's cool. Yeah. What's stoicism? I'm glad you're happy, my dude. Thank you. Did you paint your nails? I like the color blue. Thank you. Yeah, I painted them. Lord Bung in 2020. I'm happy. Yeah, it's crazy. 2019, and quite a few years leading up to 2019, I was very, very depressed, very anxious. Had a lot of suicidal ideation. Are you really stoned? Yeah, I am. I'm kind of coming down from it, it feels like, but Beginning of false creation, this idea is sometimes called last Thursdayism by its opponent, as in the world might as well have been created last Thursday. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, why not, you know? I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like when I talk about a lot of things, it's not that I necessarily believe in them wholeheartedly. I don't believe in anything wholeheartedly. That's the point, is that I feel confident enough in my own understanding of the universe that I can just dip into all sorts of people's ideas and not feel scared that I'm going to get whisked away into a cult or something. Because I don't think I will. I sort of know. I know that won't happen. I'll be back one day, Blay. Confused about people asking about UK laws right now. Trying to do some crimes. Oh, hey. When I finally go to see orangutans and gorillas at the zoo, I was able to see their emotion. It was so powerful. I believe great apes are conscious. Absolutely. Thank you for the $5. The 5 Canadian dollars. Yeah, I mean, they are conscious. It's just, like, on a less complicated level because they don't have a human brain. Like, consciousness is... Everything has consciousness. It's just that how complicated an organism is something that we take to be very personally significant. So we see a monkey and say, like, they're like like we're at the top of the food chain and they're like the second ones, the second smarty boys, and then there's like dolphins and octopus and shit and crows. And that's just a habit. Again, it's just a habit that we just assume that being human intelligent is a good thing, or a better thing than being animal intelligent. But all animals have a consciousness. They all like take in reality around them and react to it. They react to reality in the same way that every other conscious thing does, on its own scale, on its own level of complexity, and its own speed. They're absolutely conscious, and they're all beautiful, It's just that if we are a surface level kind of people, then we only interact with people who have surface level, shallow qualities similar to us. But if we look behind all that, we can see that everything is totally fucking chill between the eyes, Everything is just like us. Deep down, we all are just trying to live, Even if a part of us doesn't want us to live, deep down, we all are trying to live. And we could see that in other animals, Is consciousness, I can't spell it right, is our same selves but in our dreams and mind? Consciousness is the nothingness behind your eyes that takes in everything, that experiences reality. So, you experience a different reality in your dreams, but it's your consciousness that's experiencing it. It's hard to say because it's not you don't own your consciousness, you just are the consciousness, I guess. Consciousness is just what is seeing this right now. The thing that is seeing the stream right now, the thing that is hearing my voice, the thing that is looking at my face is consciousness. And it's all separated through the complicated maze of your brain, but behind all of that is the thing that is experiencing reality, and that thing is your consciousness. If that helps. There's a huge theme with DMT where your thinking patterns and actions are signals being sent to you from outside your body, like our brains are just a receiver. Yeah, because everything is connected, and when you're on certain psychedelics, you can see that more intimately, or rather, you could feel that more intimately. Or in DMT, I guess you can see that sometimes, probably. According to logotherapy, striving to find meaning in life is the primary, most powerful motivation and driving force in humans. Yeah, as long as you don't get attached to it, you won't suffer too much. Dolphins are too smart. Evil. They are plotting against us, I tell you. They are. You know. They don't have to deal with gravity like us. They already got it so good. Hey, thank you for the $2, Brian Gutierrez. I'll give you a hug, Blair. What was my favorite Switch game? I don't know. Probably Smash. I don't know. I don't know too many. Did you hear the story of the original Knights Templar? They were sent to kill this offshoot of Catholicism, yet this group showed the Knights Templar to proof that convinced them to leave peaceful. That looks interesting. Yeah, send that story, if you can, actually. What is the purpose of society? There is no purpose, it's just a thing that naturally arose when a bunch of humans were set off in a particular part of the world, and they went particularly nomadic because the weather there was stable, so they started setting down and creating an empire, or creating buildings, and then creating... the groups just got bigger. It's just a thing that happened. There is no purpose, although the people who benefit the most from society would probably like to tell you that there was a purpose, so that you feel like you're included and that you're doing something greater than yourself, when in reality you don't really know if you're doing something greater than yourself or you're just doing something for another human being. And you know, what is the difference? You know, you can do things for other people in a different level where you're helping people who are less fortunate than you, or just like being kind, being open, being a shoulder to cry on, whatever, you know, just like that's doing something greater than yourself. Because you're using yourself to remind somebody else that they can also be happy. Where's the spaceship going and how much till reaching destination? It's not going anywhere, and you'll never know. I guess until, you know, my last stream, whenever that is. If you think about it, war is not really essential to our original drive for survival, but instead to sate our curiosity and our feeling of superiority to others, which causes greed and lust for power. Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely see that. Pong and primates leaving Earth be like, oh god, I hate humans. Oh, I love humans. But I am out in space right now. Ooh, the stream's about to end. Okay, actually, yeah, alright, so I'm just gonna say goodbye for now, and I'll just see everybody's... I'll just read the last few comments, excuse me. We'll just see how this goes. Yeah, let's just chill the fuck out, you know? Why not? Why would you want to be in any other state? Alright, see ya, Ivan. Ivan. Rebung stream, philosophy, vibing, existential crisis, more vibing, more existentials and jokes, 420, aha, funny, when is next? And random banter. It's true. Man, how high are you? Not too high. It could be higher. Probably will be higher. Bye, Turtle will be done soon. Hell yeah, send that to me on Twitter or Instagram or something. They should be down below in the description of this stream. Alright. Hare Krishna, everyone. And may the gods smile on you.